all, good evening. I'm all set to welcome a very special guest. She needs no introduction. Is she a good cook? I don't know about that, but her lunchbox tempted everybody. And then, of course, we saw her in Airlift, The Test Case, and Homeland. Guess who? Well, yes, it's none other than Nimrat Kaur, who's all set to join us. I'm just waiting for Nimrat to come online. Hi. So how are you? How's it treating you? It's been a while since we met.
Yeah, it has actually. I think the last we met was when I was promoting The Test Case.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm good actually, I'm doing pretty well. I started off a little bit jerky like all of us, during this whole lockdown period, when it just started and it felt like an endless tunnel. But I've been doing pretty well so far. I've figured out a routine for myself. I have, a set timetable for the day. I kind of stick to that. So far so good.
One thing you like and hate about the lockdown?
What I like is the pace. The pace of, I'm a cantonment girl, Pooja, like I've grown up in Cans and, I like a part of the slowness of life. I like the fact that there is no anxiety based on, am I in the right place right now? Should I be somewhere else? Am I doing the right thing with my time? All of that. Everything is as is, and, you just have to surrender to the moment and find your peace within, I like that a lot. I think it'll be great if we can incorporate a little bit of this in our everyday lives whenever that normal comes back. What I don't like is not being able to go out in fresh air and, running and just, being able to interact with surroundings and nature and just being out there doing basic things, meeting friends. I miss that.
And you had a very busy, last year also shooting for Homeland.
Yeah.
And you said you were surprised that your role was reprised in season 8, was it?
Yeah. It was a complete surprise because, season 4, when I had come on to Homeland, season 4 was, it. There was no question of coming back or anything like that. It was always like a one-season deal, It was very surprising. I got a call from these guys the year before last, and they told me that they would like to write me in and things like that if I'm available. And I said, you had me at your phone call. So it was a crazy year actually, and I was semi-isolated, I have to say, last year itself as well, because I was all by myself in Casablanca, and it all sounds great because it's a beautiful country and all of that. One got to travel a bit as well, but it was a bit tough, It was a bit. Hi Shania, somebody said hi to me. I just someone I know just said hi. So yeah, it was a bit tough. But it was an amazing experience. It was absolutely fabulous to reconnect with the cast and the crew, and the season's being loved a lot right now.
Yes.
It's being loved a lot. They're touting it as like one of the best seasons, if not the best. So it's great. They're finishing with a flourish. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Since you're talking Homeland, 2 लोगों ने पूछा है, what is Claire Danes like?
She's fab. She's lovely. She giggles a lot. We laugh a lot. We never got to share a scene even now. The writers don't want to put us in one scene and all of that. They feel like it will be inviting too much drama. but we had a really great time. Anytime we interacted, anytime we had meals and all of that. She's a great person. She's really fun, really down to earth, and really a New Yorker, as a New Yorker can be.
And also, Test Case, playing the patriotic soldier. Now you're Tasneem Qureshi. She might be patriotic for her people, but painted. What was that like? 2 extremes.
Crazy, and I can't possibly play a more diametrically opposed role to where I come from and what I stand for in that sense, technically, or whatever. It's crazy. But in this series, like in this season, I got to explore a lot more of her personal angle and her personal kind of an arc. And there is a full internal kind of a contradiction that you get to experience, you know, about Tasneem and, you know, what she stands for and where she gets conflicted and where her journey bends and turns and then goes into a completely different direction.
And also, a lot of people are asking, have you tried Golgona coffee? What's your treat meal?
I have. Guys, it's Pitaway coffee. It's
Pitaway coffee.
It's Pitaway coffee. It's what we've had, you know, it's like upside down. It's pretty coffee upside down. And then to stir it is like, it takes forever. But it's addictive, yeah. It is. You know, I've been having that and I you know, as they say, it's like a coffee connoisseurs are going to frown upon it because they're like, oh, it's not real coffee and, you know, all of that. I get that, but there's some fun in it. It's entertainment. And right now, anything that engages me for a longer period of time with an activity, I'm up for it.
You know, and it's, you know, you said cantonment. I mean, I'm also from the services. Remember the evening's board exam, Kitty coffee only helped us survive.
Yeah. Sure, yes, absolutely. And it was just fun, you know, like I remember being given this duty whenever guests used to come home, uncle, aunties and all of that. So you're sitting in one corner and doing that jam. So, you know, you have enough practice.
I know. Somebody's asked, what changes would you like to see in the representation of South Asian women in films, in Hollywood films?
I think the length of the parts needs to be substantially improved. I think parts need to be written with a lot more awareness of culture and background. I feel like writers still have a notional idea of our lives and, you know, they get kind of boxed into chicken curries and, you know, still things that are cliches, you know, that they don't not exist, but there's a lot more going on to a South Asian woman's life than putting on a bindi or, you know, making a curry and, you know, things like that.
True.
Yeah. So I think a little more in-depth knowledge and a little more cultural understanding so that the roles are written with a little more love and depth.
But do you think, because last time when we spoke, test case was happening during Lunchbox, do you feel now it's become a lot more democratic in terms of whether it's Hollywood, whether it's here with the OTT platforms?
Yeah, 100%. I think everybody's hungry for talent because there's so much content that needs to be churned out. Everybody wants to put out good content and involve and integrate as many nationalities and colors and, you know, whatever. All people need all kinds of actors. So it's in their benefit and it makes them look good if they have different kinds of actors on a platform, in a show. And if you have a good actor that can bring in the eyeballs and like an audience base that opens up because of that, the presence of that actor in a show, it's even better. So everybody stands to win.
And I'm sure you still get a lot of love for Lunchbox. Even now people are writing, loved you in Lunchbox. But are you a great cook? Because your Lunchbox tempted us all.
You know, I have to say now, you know, I can't say it just sounds a little random to say that, yeah, I'm a great cook, but I'm not bad. I'm not bad, you know, for the fact that I've attempted a lot of first time things, you know, in this period already. So I've made a lot of like Indian food because that's the one thing you don't get to really make. You know, you end up making quick fix meals or you end up eating out and stuff like that. You don't end up sitting and making food, you know, as we've grown up eating it, like curry chawal or like chicken kofte I tried the other day. I've been trying lots of different things. You know, every other day I kind of put myself to task. So I rarely kind of disappoint myself that, oh, it's not even edible or I got to throw this away. It's not, I'm not bad.
And food apart, I remember your workout videos, your training before test case. I mean, that would give anybody a complex. Is that momentum still there? I mean, the same.
No. I mean, I kind of lost that momentum once that show was done with in filming. But I've kept up my love affair for fitness and well-being in that sense. So that hasn't gone. It's just taken a different route. You know, I mix and match things and I've kind of held on to what I'd learned from that journey and from that time for sure. Yeah.
Somebody's asked, who's your favorite literary character?
Literary character. Oh my goodness, this is very hard now to kind of... I think it's got to be Mr. Darcy.
Everyone. He ruined romance for all of us women.
Absolutely. I mean, what better, right?
So true.
Yeah.
And somebody's asked, what future projects can we look forward to? A lot of them coming for test case also.
Yeah, thanks guys. And basically I was supposed to start shooting for something now here, like a film here in April and May. And everything was in place. I mean, we're just at the contract signing stage right now. So unfortunately that I don't know when we're going to start filming that. But hopefully once we find our bearings after all of this gets done.
Someone's asked, who's your favorite character from Homeland?
I gotta say Mandy Patinkin's character, Saul Berenson. Saul Berenson, yeah. And I got to work with him a lot in this season. So that was extremely, extremely lovely. It was really great fun to be across from him. And I really gets to learn a lot.
So who's that one Hollywood actor you would want to self-isolate with?
Without a doubt, Brad Pitt. I mean, it's like a straight answer.
True that. And also a lot of other questions coming in. Somebody's asked, what's your favorite cheat meal?
What's my favorite?
Cheat meal. Cheat meal.
Cheat meal. Anything to do with chocolate, I guess. Anything sweet. Anything really. Kheer. Yeah, I love kheer as well. I really, really love kheer.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody's asked, would you like to play a femme fatale?
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to play anything, everything.
And the same person asked, what kind of research went in to play Tasneem Qureshi?
Yeah, so the designation of Tasneem Qureshi now in season 8 was that of the Director General of the ISI. So there is no such post in the ISI where a woman has ever been that high up. You know, it's a job meant for an older man, really. In terms of we did a little bit of research in terms of costume. We had some references, you know, the way Pakistani women dress and the way they present themselves. It had to be a natural continuation of what I'd played in season 4. So in terms of body language, etc., it had to be extremely formal and very, very impersonal. You know, so she's not somebody who will get very warm or, be very accessible very quickly in any way. So it's always a little bit of, like a closed kind of a personality. So it's mostly, put together by imagination and by understanding how a woman like that would function and work in an environment like that. So
you worked on TV series on both sides.
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
Not so much actually, Pooja. I've got to say that. Of course, look, Homeland is a huge show. The machinery is massive. I mean, the kind of budgets they're working on, the canvas is huge. You know, it's not fair to compare, for me, a web show that's being shot in India with time constraints, budget constraints, and all other sorts of restrictions, to a show that's now in its 8th season. It's one of the original biggest, most loved shows of the world. So in terms of scale, of course, there's a huge difference, and that's natural. But in terms of work ethic or in terms of just the sincerity towards the project, I feel like we are as good, in that sense, with our commitment to what we want to put out there. Yeah.
Also another question for you. It's World Book Day today. Any book you're currently reading, or a favorite book?
I have to finish the Bhagavad Gita. I'm reading Ravi Ravindra's Bhagavad Gita. It's something that I have, it's been simmering on the side. And there is a book called Translated from the Gibberish by Anush Irani. He's a writer from Vancouver. So it's a book of a few short stories put together. I'm currently reading these two.
And what are you currently watching other than Homeland?
Can I be honest? I'm watching a lot of food shows, like food recipe things online. I promise you, that's my thing. Because you know what happens is that I decide to make something. And then my mom and I keep discussing the recipe. And then she's like, no, try this, try that. So we look for it on YouTube. She looks for it. And then, you know, we exchange our recipes. So honestly, I'm just looking at recipes right now, not really particularly watching anything because physically I feel a little bit restless. So I don't like to sit and watch stuff. So my sitting activity is either like going through memes or Instagram or, you know, the rubbish kind of stuff, or I sit and read. So otherwise I keep myself physically like super busy and just exhaust myself to the point of like collapsing by the end of the day.
I know what you mean. Is there something that you had left saying that I'll get back to it? Have you picked it up? Or anything new that you're doing? Because since we have all the time.
You know, it feels like we have the time. Like, this is interesting because when I had started, you know, getting into this routine, I thought that I'll have all the time in the world and what am I going to do? So Pooja, I live alone. I have no stay-at-home help. My schedule really is jhadu, pocha, bartan, you know, dusting and cleaning, cooking, all of this on loop. And in between this, I have to just kind of take a moment, you know, engage myself with social media activities, or, you know, there are some things like that to be done. I looked up some online courses and things like that, but I honestly haven't been able to make the time. I think it's more for people who are able to have help with looking after the house. I also have 2 cats. So, you know, it's like, it's a whole lot of work, man. I mean, not the cats, but the house is like a beast on its own. You know, there's so much to do every single day. So I'm actually quite exhausted, you know, with everything that I have to do in the day. Plus you have to step out, do your groceries, you know, things like that once in a while. Yeah.
You know, this lockdown has taught us how to be self-sufficient.
Yes.
Minimalism, I think was a lesson that we all had to learn.
Yeah. I think it had to happen at some point in time, you know, in our lives. I mean, I'm not getting philosophical here, but fact is that, you know, we have so much abundance and we are so spoiled for choice that just the sheer availability of resources and absolutely everything all the time, that I feel had to be stopped, and we had to find a way to look inward and figure out what is it that we're really living for here. You know, we work, we spend, we consume. That's it. This is the only rut that, you know, we end up being in. People go on vacations and then you know that you need a vacation from your vacation because you're tired of, you know, the activities that you're doing on vacations. So who knew, right? Like 2020, everybody said is going to be the year of change and everything's going to, who knew that this is what it would have meant? But circumstances are really adverse. I wish that the atrocities that are coming onto us, you know, were subdued in that sense or not existing. But I feel like this is a great moment as a society and as a race to just sit down and look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what are we really living for, and what is it? You know, like if you ask me, what is the first thing you want to do? It's not going to be go and shop for clothes or money, spend your money, or, you know, it's going to be go take a walk. I want to go be with my loved ones. It's basics, you know.
True. And lastly, Pokhraj has asked you 2 questions. Your favorite memory as an army child and your favorite army film.
Oh, Prahar. Prahar is my favorite ever.
Yes. Madhuri Dixit, Nana Patekar.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Fabulous Prahar. This is such a fabulous film. So Prahar is my favorite army film, and my favorite memory as an army kid, that's what you asked?
Yeah.
Is, you know, we used to hide in those, we used to be locked up during raising days and stuff all the time, you know, because kids were not allowed. So raising day, for the people who don't know, are those, they're kind of like a birthday of a regiment. So everybody puts up like these lovely social programs. There are plays and songs and this and that. And all the kids are locked up because obviously we're like the rats, you know, who are let out at the end of the party, you know. So we were locked up. We used to be locked up. And I used to wait for that moment when the kids could come out and eat and look at the buffets and, you know, wave out at my mom if she was on stage singing or something, or, you know, just like create like mayhem, dance on the stage. You know, the riffraff comes out. You know, the creepy crawlies come out of the woodwork. So it used to be that. I used to wait for that.
And the way the mess food used to be, you know.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The snacks and, you know, all the
peanuts with onion and chilies.
Yes. Oh my God.
Some things don't change, they still serve you that.
Absolutely, my goodness. Absolutely. And
I'm telling you, an army child, always an army child.
Always an army child, yes. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Nimrat. Lovely speaking to you. Hope I can see you in person soon.
Yeah, me too. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
Bye. Thank you so much. Take care. All the best.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.